What is going on, Israel? Back again with another video. And today's video, we're going to be covering these MLB standings right before the trade deadline. As you guys know, that is coming up in about 5 days time. So I kind of want to go over the standings right before there, because it's pretty interesting where the teams kind of stand right now and what moves could potentially be made. As we know right now, there hasn't been any really moves since I'm recording this video. There's been, I think, 3 so far that have all happened like earlier. So not a whole lot of moves. Let's get right into this one. But we're going to start in this American League like we normally do. We obviously cover the wild cards here on the channel. So we look at the AL leaders, nothing really crazy here at this point. The Cleveland Guardians are still the best team in the American League, which we've kind of seen now that this team is really good. I mean, we've seen it now. This is no fluke season. I think this team's really good at this point. The Baltimore Orioles are right up here, pretty much almost tied with the Yankees in wins, but they have 3 less losses, so that's why they have the division right now. And we see the Houston Astros back on top here, which is very interesting because, they obviously had a slow start in that April, really came back in that May, June, July. Now they're back up here, so very interesting to see. And the interesting thing about this West is whoever gets second is not going to be in the playoff spot, it looks like, because we have Seattle down there and the Rangers are close in that division as well. So those teams are not in the playoffs. So looks like we're only going to get 1 team from the AL West this year, which could be really interesting. So those are our division leaders. I mean, nothing crazy surprise. I kind of expected these, to be honest. If we look at this AL wildcard, the Yankees have the #1 seed, which I'm not really surprised. I think the Orioles or Yankees, whoever wins that division is going to get, that seed in the East, and then obviously the first seed in the wildcard, I think, in my opinion. I'm not really sure who yet because the teams just look so good on paper. It's really hard to tell. And if we go down the pecking order, the Minnesota Twins and Royals have the last 2 spots. So definitely these teams have been really fun to watch with their young, exciting players. I definitely like the Twins, moving forward. I think this team's really good. They just got to stop getting injured, and, that would be kind of nice. The Royals look really good. I like this team a lot. Young players, got some veterans on there as well. Just very fun team to watch. I really like them as well. So that's going to round out the teams currently in the postseason spot. But a lot of teams under them could be very interesting. So the Red Sox are 1 game out at this moment. Once again, they have a lot of good, decent players, I think. So I'm very curious to see what happens in this whole deadline. They obviously just extended Alex Cora's contract, I think another 3 seasons. So that was exciting for them moving forward. But yeah, they're an interesting spot. I know they want to go for this. I mean, you're 1 game out. I mean, you'd figure you have to go for it, right? So we'll see what kind of moves they made. We'll see who they want to get up. I know they have a lot of good, talented prospects in their pipeline already. So that's the thing. It's like, do you want to give those guys up to try to go for this spot? That's kind of the debate you have in Boston, because I know there's a lot of good players. You got guys like Kyle Teal, Myers in the system as well. Obviously, their most recent pick in Montgomery's down there. Like, you just have a lot of guys that I think are just really talented. I just don't really think they should give up. But then you weigh the options of, do you make the postseason? So that's the big question in Boston right now. Now, if you look down the pecking order, Seattle, once again, very weird team. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs by how they're performing recently. Obviously, they're almost at 500, so, it's just been weird in that West division with the Rangers as well. The Rangers, once again, I'm not really surprised that they're not having the best season. They just won the whole thing last year, so it's not really surprising to me that they're having a down year. They pretty much have kept almost everyone, though, from that roster, so maybe that's surprising to some people, but I mean, you just win the whole thing. I mean, I'm not really too worried about this team. You figure they'd be in a postseason spot, though, for sure. But yeah, not really going to happen, I guess, moving forward. And then you have the Rays kind of in the middle, kind of 500 team right now. This is the interesting team for me. This is the wild card team, where it's like, I have no idea what they're going to do, because we've already seen them get rid of 2 of their relief pitchers already. So it's like, okay, is that a selling thing? Do they just want to get rid of them? It's still a question mark in Tampa. I have no idea what they're going to do. We're hearing the things about taking offers for Randy Rosarena, which is pretty interesting. I don't really know what's going to happen in Tampa. The only thing I do know is their new stadium did get approved recently, which is very exciting for them. But I really have no idea what the actual team is looking to do moving forward, in my opinion. So, yeah, Rays are definitely an interesting one. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. 4.5 games out. We'll kind of see on that one. So, I'm not totally confident in that team moving forward. I think then we get down to the seller teams. We have the Tigers up next. Once again, 3 games off 500. Not looking horrible, but not looking like a postseason team at all. There's the questions about Jack Flaherty being traded, which is definitely interesting. He's been there for about a season, who's been there for this season at least. So definitely have some good questions on him. The Blue Jays, once again, we still don't really know what they're going to do, at least when I'm recording this video. I don't know if they're going to sell. I don't know if they're going to get rid of their guys like we keep saying. Haven't really heard too many Blue Jays names in the conversations. I've heard Kevin Kiermaier is looking to retire. That's the only thing I've heard. So, yeah, not really sure what the Blue Jays are going to do. I would have to imagine they get rid of someone, though, if I'm going to be all the way honest. And then we get down to the 3 teams that we know are going to sell, being the Angels, Athletics, and White Sox. I mean, we know the Angels are going to get rid of a couple guys. We know the Athletics are probably going to get rid of Rooker. And we know the White Sox are going to blow it up, probably. It's funny thing about the White Sox, this team is 27-77. I mean, that is one of the worst records I think, in the MLB. If you look at some previous records in the past, it's actually pretty similar on pace to what some of the worst teams in league history have done, or even before the league, which is actually really interesting if you take it back even before the MLB. So yeah, they're on pace to have one of the worst seasons almost ever. So we'll see if they actually get to it. We'll definitely check in and, at the end of September and see where they're at. But yeah, I mean, 77 losses is just insane already. I mean, that's just crazy to think about. So you got about 8 teams in the wild card that could make it, with Boston and Seattle being the 2 out. And then all the divisions are still up. Like, you can win. Anyone can win a division right now in the American League. So very interesting on the division side. Anyone can really win. So definitely interesting. But let's go to the National League now. And the National League has gotten very interesting. I think the last couple of weeks this has been a very interesting topic. Let's start off with those NL leaders though. Pretty much the same they've really been all season. The Phillies, Dodgers, and Brewers once again will 100% make the playoffs, I think, in my opinion. I think if they make no changes, they're still gonna make the playoffs. Like they're gonna be fine. But I know they're gonna want to improve. They're gonna go for that World Series. So those 3 teams, not worried about it at all. They're gonna make the playoffs. Now this NL wild card has gotten very interesting. I mean, we're just gonna go through this top to bottom. The Braves have lost their lead. I don't know what is going on in Atlanta. I don't know what is happening. They got a 2-game lead over the Mets now. So they used to have a 10-game lead in this wild card. And I was like, oh, they're confirmed for sure. But now it's looking a little bit scary in Atlanta. I don't know what is happening to this. I don't know what's going on over there. They're just completely fumbling their massive lead they have. They're not really playing the best as of late. Back from this All-Star break, not looking good in Atlanta right now. So question marks are definitely going to be raised there. I don't think that team is confirmed anymore for a postseason spot, which is pretty insane to think about. We have the New York Mets up here. The Mets have been absolutely insane the last couple of weeks playing. So the Mets is very interesting because we've heard Stephen Cohen, we've heard the GM say multiple times, next year, all the prospects are going to come up. We're going to be absolutely insane. But this year, they're really proving themselves. Like, the guys on this team that want to win are really proving themselves to win now, which is actually really cool. So definitely think the Mets can make a lot of moves. That's why I don't think guys like Pete Alonso will get traded. I just don't see that happening. I think he's going to get an extension. If anything, he's going to stay in New York. Like, I just don't think a lot of people are going to get traded. They're going to buy if they do anything. The Cardinals are another one that could buy as well. I think this team has, once again, we've talked about the Cardinals team a lot on the channel right now. Weird season last year. They come back, slow start, then they go absolutely. They're kind of similar to the Astros, I'm not going to lie. Just have a crazy the rest of the season. So we'll see. Once again, the Cardinals, we'll see. They should be buyers as well. I think they should be buying. I want to talk about the buyers in the Atlanta. I don't know if they're going to buy. Like, it's hard to really say that because they're so talented on paper that I just don't think they're going to buy. I think they're just going to have to play better, in my opinion. And I don't think they're going to sell at all. That just won't happen at all. They're just going to keep buying. Now, the teams on the cusp right now, obviously the Padres are tied with the Cardinals right now. They have, 1 less loss, and the Cardinals have 1 less win. So, they're pretty much tied. But the Padres are really interesting. Obviously, that Luis Arias pickup was phenomenal early in the season. They bought last year. They didn't make it. I would imagine they buy again, just going off their history of just the whole postseason and everything like that. That's how I imagine what they do moving forward. So I could definitely see them buying. Now we go back to the Diamondbacks and Pirates. Now here's where it gets interesting. We got the 6 teams, and then we kind of have 3 teams. So it's kind of like a 9-team wild card now. There's been a really interesting divide through the NL with some of these squads and where they've kind of ended up and some of the loss streaks they've been on, which is very interesting because the franchises know that these 2 weeks really decide how your team really, goes. A lot of GMs decide that. I don't really know why, but some do. So, that's just how it works. If we look at the Diamondbacks and Pirates, they're very close. 1 game out on the cusp, right? I mean, the Pirates, you would have to imagine go for it. I've been saying this. They are a couple pieces away. Couple massive pieces away from being a postseason team, and I want them back in the postseason. I'll be honest, they're a really fun franchise to watch in the postseason. The Diamondbacks, once again, very interesting team. I do think, last season, like we said, they didn't win that many games to get in. They only won like 84, 85. So it's going to be close, I think, again this year with all these teams. But from the Diamondbacks side, it's like, where do you even upgrade this team? Because I know they've had a lot of rookie talent come on in this team and actually really perform. So it's like, I don't think they want to get rid of that, moving forward. That's the weird thing with the Diamondbacks, unless they trade current players. So gonna be interesting to see what the Diamondbacks do. I'm not totally sure if they're really gonna make any changes moving forward. So that could be very interesting. And moving down, so after the Pirates, they got the 1-game wild card back. Then we go to the Reds at 4 and the Giants at 4.5. So, and then you get to these teams where it's like, okay, they're not gonna make it, right? The Cubs are at 5 and the Nationals are at 6 games out. So these are the 4 teams where it's like, okay, you almost had a chance, you kind of blew it, you probably sell. We already know the Chicago Cubs, the GM said they're going to sell already, so we'll see what pieces they give away. The Nationals, I feel like, won't do anything, to be honest, because I feel like most people saw this team here. Like, I don't think people saw this team really winning a lot. We've seen the Lane Thomas rumors. I think that's like the only piece they could get rid of, in my opinion. unless they get rid of Joey Gallo or you get rid of one of their older players like Jesse Winker. That's the only thing I really see them doing. I don't really see them getting rid of any of the young talent. Like, I just don't. That's not going to happen. For the Giants, Reds, the Giants are once again a really weird team. It's just a weird team. Like, I don't know. Like, they make all these moves. You think they're going to be good. They get Matt Chapman. They get Soler. They get Gun-Hoo Lee. Like, you think they're going to be a good team, and then you see them play, and it's just like they're really not performing. Like the team in general, not those specific players, but the team in general. So it's like it's really weird in San Francisco. Like, I don't really know what their what their plans are moving forward, and I just have to think it's got to be rookie talent for that team because they haven't had a lot of it, I feel like, moving forward. So maybe that's the way for them. The Reds are really weird. I don't get the Reds situation a lot. They have so much good players on that team. I've heard the rumors about Jonathan India getting traded. That's definitely been around the league for a little bit. I know the Yankees were looking at him. There's a lot of interesting things with the Reds and kind of what talent they could get rid of. But with all the rookie talent they brought in, I thought they would be a good team, but it just really has not happened. Like, it's really weird on that squad moving forward. So that is really weird. And then we get to the teams that are already out of it. The Rockies and Marlins already out of it. The Rockies looking to get rid of Diaz, obviously. The Marlins are looking to get rid of, pretty much most of their players, let's be honest. So yeah, very interesting. But yeah, I'd say it's about a 9-team race in the NL, which is definitely better than it was at the start. With literally every single team in the NL in the conversation. So I'd say you have the 3 division leaders in it, right? Then you got the 3 teams in the NL wildcard, and the Padres, Diamondbacks, and Pirates that are currently on the cusp. That's what I would say. I would say you got 9 teams in the National League, 8 teams in the American League moving forward. So definitely going to be a very interesting season to close out this with the races we have. And I think that's why the league wanted to add an extra wild card spot, because they know the race would be crazy adding another team in, which it definitely has, I'm not going to lie. And it's definitely made the trade deadline a lot more interesting for sure. So definitely interesting on that part. What do you guys think about the both leagues? Like, what do you guys think is going to happen with these wild cards moving forward? Just a lot of interesting moves could happen with this deadline. A lot of teams could go up. A lot of teams, futures could be made moving forward. Going to be very interesting on what's going to happen. Really, what's going to happen. What do you guys think about the American League, National League in the comment section down below? Let me know. If you guys did enjoy this one, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.